Joining us now, Sheriff David Clarke, live in Chicago. Sheriff Clarke, great to have you with us. 5 days out.
Thanks, John. It's great to be on with you. And matter of fact, for your listeners, I'm on Newsmax now today at noon Eastern.
Newsmax, noon. Sheriff Clarke, don't miss it. You got the best segments. I especially love when you get into some of the detail about law and order. Let's get to Philadelphia riots. Seems a little calm last night, but I got to tell you, Sheriff, the pictures of people wheeling out washing machines with dollies. What is up with this?
Straight up thuggery. It's become the automatic default now. Every time that the law enforcement officer are using force, automatically a riot breaks out, and it has nothing to do with the incident. When you're stealing, when you're burning, when you're looting, it has nothing to do with the police incident. You're an opportunist. You're a criminal, a straight-up thug. And the reason why this has become an automatic default is because for the first at least 24 to 48 hours, sometimes longer in some of these other cities, they're allowed to get away with it. The police don't have their resources marshaled yet. That's not a criticism toward them, because it takes at least 24 hours to marshal your resources, but it should end by the second day. But these stand-down orders, I've heard reports, I haven't verified this yet, but I've heard reports that the Philadelphia police were told to stand down in the first 24 hours and let them do this sort of thing. And so now, because every one of these major urban areas has the infrastructure in place for this to break out quickly, summing up their resources. Some of the actors in the early stages are youth. The criminals come out. That's why you see looting. And Fire said those are the criminals. That's the first layer that comes out in this sort of thing. So as long as the police are going to tolerate it, and it's not the frontline officers that I'm talking about. I'm talking about police commanders, the executives, who have to show some courage and stand up to their mayors. But until they do that, this is going to be, get used to this sort of thing every time there's a police officer use of force.
So this started with a male coming at the police, two police with a knife. They backed up. They told him to stand down. They told him to drop it. He kept coming. What were they supposed to do?
They were supposed to do exactly what they did. They have a right under the rule of law to defend themselves and other people, other citizens in that sort of situation. And all this crap that you hear goofs like Joe Biden talk about, shoot him in the hand, shoot him in the leg. He watches too much TV, and you don't even see that sort of thing on TV. But these are very tense, rapidly evolving situations, split-second decisions. We saw the video. Everybody saw the video. And I realize, and I like to, remind people that that's just one piece of evidence there. But from what we see and what we're told early on from the briefings by the district attorney and the commissioner there, the Philadelphia police, this looks like a clean use of force. But there's, like I said, there's evidence to be collected, people to be interviewed. The investigation is ongoing. But in these situations, you're right. Law enforcement officer has to do that sort of thing. Unfortunately, they don't want to do that. You know, how many times did they say drop the knife? Right? It was more than twice. It was probably more than 3 times. These guys, and I don't want to hear about, well, he's suffering from mental illness, he's this, he's that. I don't want to hear about that crap. That guy presented a clear and real danger to not only the law enforcement officers, but the other people who were trying to get involved and trying to take hold of this guy. They could have got stabbed too. So that's what I mean when I say not only do the law enforcement officers have the right to defend themselves, but other citizens as well.
What is the long-term plan here? If Joe Biden wins, what is going to stop this? I mean, basically, Biden, you look at the governor of Pennsylvania, basically justified the looters, justified the riots, saying, well, just another example of injustice to African Americans. So if Biden wins, what's going to stop? You basically got the governor saying, hey, I understand looting, I get it. Insurance will pay for it. I mean, that's basically what the governor said.
Well, okay. First of all, it's not his property, number one. Number two, insurance will not cover all of this. The premiums go up after that. Also, it has, when that sort of thing happens, when businesses go to re-up on their insurance, that'll be considered a dangerous area, and their rates go up. So, for these people to sit up there, it's not their property, and say, well, it's just property, well, insurance will cover it. I'll tell you what, then tell the Philadelphia governor to open his doors, unlock his doors, let burglars come in, because it's only property, and he has homeowners insurance. Leave his car, leave the keys in the car, take the car, because, well, it's just property, can be replaced. I'm sick and tired of these people with this attitude towards somebody else's business, somebody else's property, somebody else's life and fortune. When you talk about this, a lot of these people have their life earnings tied up into their business, and they're operating on the margins anyway. A lot of those small businesses, they're not getting rich. They're not getting filthy rich off a small business. And for a political, for a elected official to have that callous attitude toward the residents of his state or her state or his or her city just turns my stomach.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, when you look at this and you look at a governor and you look at the looting and the burning things down and smashing windows and just taking things in Philadelphia, and you have a governor who says, well, it's justified. Looting is justified. Stealing is justified because of what happened, and cops are told to stand down. Now, the writing ebbed when the mayor put the curfew in. But how do you think this is going to impact the Philadelphia suburbs? I mean, I would have to think, Sheriff, if I'm living in Chester or one of the Philadelphia suburbs, I've got to say to myself, when is this coming to my neighborhood, right?
Everywhere I go, when I talk about these things, I always say to people coming to a neighborhood near you,
right,
because you're exactly right. No area, unless you live, on 500 acres somewhere out in the wilderness, no area is immune from this now. And that's the thing that's becoming troublesome to some people. You asked the question, what happens if Biden wins? God help us if Biden wins. Mm-hmm. But there are a lot of people that you just mentioned that are stewing over this, and they're watching, and now is their time. November 3rd, if they haven't early voted already, now is your time to push back and to let these goofs know, all of these goofs on the left, these Democrats, we're not putting up with this crap, because if Donald Trump wins, if Donald Trump is reelected, he's going to take a more aggressive stance, because it'll be all hands on deck. He won't have to worry about reelection, and he's going to do what needs to be done. He's got to tread a little lightly on this thing right now. He jumped on it right away, which was a good thing, but I think you're going to see action from Donald Trump when this crap happens in a second term, and I think you'll have a different response. It's going to be balls to the wall. He's going to put his foot down on this crap. He's going to order Bill Barr, the Justice Department, to get in there using federal, not soldiers, federal officers from DHS, from DEA, from ATF, get into these cities, form task forces with the local police, and stomp this crap out.
Sheriff David Clarke with us, former sheriff of Milwaukee County, now in Chicago, Illinois, joining us today. Sheriff will also be on Newsmax today at noon, so you want to check that out. One of my favorite segments when he's on Newsmax. I'll be on there tomorrow, so that's always fun. Sheriff Clarke, law enforcement, you've been in this game a long time. You went through these riots in Milwaukee. You had a great track record. I want to get to politics, though. I feel really good about this election. I'm looking at the numbers every day. I get up, it's like Christmas. We're moving in the right direction everywhere. What do you see Tuesday, Wednesday? Make a prediction.
Well, I don't have a crystal ball. I still
But what
say
do you see?
Trump,
What do you feel?
Better than 50-50. It's going to be a nail biter. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think I'm going to be. It's going to be a nail biter. It's all about turnout right now, so everybody can put all that other stuff away, put the ads away, all the talk about it, put it away. It's about turning out the votes. Whichever side can get their base energized to get out there and vote is going to win this election. Now, we may not know November 3rd. I'm not so sure about that, because in Wisconsin, they're going to start counting the mail-in votes and the early voters as soon as the polls close. And the law says they have to continue counting through the night. They can't count a few and then go to bed and come back in the morning. So we may know late Tuesday night early Wednesday morning, after midnight, we may know how Wisconsin goes, and how Wisconsin goes could be a bellwether in terms of the rest of the nation. So we may know early in the morning Wednesday. Who knows? Because the Democrats are ready for chaos in some of these other cities, lawsuits, challenges to ballots, claims of voter suppression, all these other lies, and that'll make this thing messy. But the fact is that if people get out and vote, if they just get out and vote in large numbers in these areas where, and the president's finishing strong, let's be honest, he's surging, all right? Joe Biden is fading, and this is a sprint to the finish line. The president's going to finish strong, and I think that bodes well. So I'm optimistic, but still at about better than 50-50.
I feel really good about it because I know the Florida numbers are really moving in our direction. He is going to win Florida. They're going to have to call it by about 10 o'clock. He's going to win Florida by 3 to 5. He's going to win North Carolina. We're going to be, even with the mail-in ballots coming 9 days later, it doesn't, people are upset over that. Like, it doesn't matter. I mean, they still have to get mailed in, whether it's 8 days or 9 days. He's going to have a huge lead in North Carolina on game day. They're not going to be able to steal that. He's going to win that. We've moved ahead by 3 in Pennsylvania. We're up by 5 now in Arizona. That's over. Trump's going to win Arizona. Republicans have come home. They outnumber Democrats there. We're in striking distance in Nevada, which is a state we got a legitimate shot at. We're up in Michigan. I mean, everything is moving in Trump's direction. He has tremendous enthusiasm. You look at Tampa yesterday. He goes down there, gets 30,000 people. Biden does a drive-by. He gets 9 cars. I mean, you can't hide this lack of enthusiasm. He has, Sheriff. Nobody cares about Joe Biden. It's all about orange man bad. I hate Trump. He's got to go. That's not going to carry them to finish line. And then you get the GDP number out yesterday. The economy growing by 33.5%, bigger than anybody thought it would be, biggest in history, right?
In the midst of a pandemic yet. The president, if he gets reelected, will get this thing turned around in very short order. He's going to somehow have to cajole these damn governors in these blue states to open their states back up. We know more about this virus than we did before. 99.9% of the people who get the virus survive. So the survival rate is high. The fatality rate is extremely low. And people can have confidence now. And I think the president alluded to that in the last debate, that it's time to open this country up, stare this damn thing down, protect the elderly, protect the vulnerable, people with comorbidities, and you know what? Let the rest of the country go on about their lives. So I like the way he's finishing strong. That's important in an election. I know a thing or two about elections, having won 4 sheriff's races. I'm nervous right now, but here's an interesting thing. I think that's a good sign for me anyway, because I was always nervous going into election day, because elections, there's no guarantees. And so me being nervous was a good place for me to be. Mm-hmm. I kept my edge on all the way till the end. Mm-hmm. I had a sense of urgency about it, and I just like the way that the president is finishing. But here's another important thing that doesn't get talked about. We have to maintain the Senate. The GOP, conservatives, have to maintain the Senate, because without the Senate, even if Trump wins, his agenda is going nowhere. Okay, the federal court selections that he's made have been outstanding, but that's going nowhere in terms of an originalist, a textualist will never get through a Chuck Schumer Senate. So we have to go 2 for 2. We have to win the White House and maintain the Senate. The Democrats only have to go 1 for 2.
John Fredericks Radio Network. Sheriff, it's good to have you on, man. Where will you be on election night?
I'll be in New York City. There's a law enforcement event to watch the returns. I've been invited out, so I'm going to go spend some time with the law enforcement officers in the New York area.
You going to call in during our election night show at the rooftop on Charlie Palmer's?
Leave me the number. I'll see if I can get in there.
Well, you know you're going to get in. You know you can't miss the Godzilla election night show with Stephen K. Bannon, right? From the rooftop at Charlie Palmer's Steakhouse. Historic rooftop overlooking the Capitol. You know you're going to call it. You know you're going to do it. You got to call it. Sheriff, we're going to win on Tuesday night. John Fredericks Radio Network. It's all good.